You will probably notice that Scott is not with us, but you'll understand in a minute why. He made a video for us to show tonight, and he will explain on that video what is going on. So if you'll bear with me just a moment.
Good evening, everybody. Scott McCrae here. So I couldn't be in person, but I have a magic show tonight, which is apropos for tonight's theme. Last year in 2024 for the LaTip International Convention, I was asked to be a speaker on this topic called Resilience Reset. I'm not exactly an expert, but I have a bunch of information that I've compiled over the years and put this presentation together. 12 magic tricks you can do on yourself for reigniting your motivation. So hopefully you enjoy this and you get a chance to take some notes because I think there's some important things here. And if I'm not looking at you, apologies, I'm looking at my notes to make sure we can get through this as quickly as possible. So here we go. All right. So I think when we picture this climbing to the top of the mountain summit team, right? It's this
Mm-hmm.
idea that I've made it, the life point, right? Critical point of success in your life. But I'm really thinking that this is kind of a fallacy. And let me throw another analogy at you. When I view my life, this is kind of how I look at it, right? I think of it like a garage full of used paint cans. At some time, they were like my favorite color and the most important thing that I wanted to do at that moment. And then you change gears a little bit and you find a different color. Pretty soon, you have an entire garage full of half empty, half full, three-quarter full cans of paint. And hopefully, none of your paint cans are half empty. But you catch the analogy. All these paint colors in your life, they belong to you. You invested in them, and right now maybe you're looking for what was that perfect color that I really enjoyed the most, or how can I combine a few to make a better color? That's kind of what I think life is. You don't ever make it to the top of the mountain, you're done. You're looking for the next mountain to climb or the next goal to hit. So when you walk down from the peak, so to speak, what are you going to do next? And when we look at the feeling of lost motivation, I think that comes from when we pinnacle in a certain area. There's tomorrow, and we get home, and of course, we're thinking about all the things that maybe have to be done in our personal lives on top of this new goal that we're trying to set. And I think Rick Seymour put it great in one of his trainings. He was talking about some of the astronauts and pilots who come back, after you've walked on the moon, what do you do next? And a lot of these people turn into alcoholics. They get depressed because really, once you've walked on the surface of the moon, what goal could you possibly set for yourself? So, if you feel like you're constantly hitting some roadblocks or obstacles, or you like shiny things like me, then let's look at some tricks you can play on yourself to kind of reignite that resilience. So let's begin. So I will say, as a practicing professional magician, and I'll be doing this tonight. Let's say I've been doing it for 38 years for money now. People's perceptions are formed by really a lifetime of conditioning. Your input, your self-talk, your upbringing, information may be right or wrong, but the things that shape our mindset and the way we behave becomes our window to the world, right? Our perceptions. So magicians take full advantage of this. I can tell you when I need to do a quick dirty move and get away with the trick, and I'm doing close-up magic where there's massive scrutiny, people looking at me. I know if I just ask them a question by name, I'm going to get their eye contact to me. Why? Because it's a social norm. In the United States, when somebody says your name, it's disrespectful not to be looking at the other person directly in the eye, right? So these kinds of things are what we're just trained to do. Our brains are like this. So if I could show you some magic tricks you can do on yourself, kind of like that, it's kind of like a trail of breadcrumbs that leads your mind to do what you wanted to condition yourself to in the first place, if that makes any sense. So magic trick number one is defining your reason or your why. And I think we've heard this before. If your why doesn't make you cry or all that other stuff. But I really think if you define your why, a lot of people get confused and they're looking for that one thing. But really, Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why, can put your life into some perspective about what you're doing here on planet Earth. I think your why is a bunch of different reasons, right? So if you can sit down and kind of what I call a mind web of your whys, you can come up with a number of different reasons that may actually tie together. Um, you may find that traveling and being with family might be your biggest why. So you put the two together, you can start defining a more realistic approach as to why the heck you're doing this resilient reset to reignite your passion in the first place. So that's magic trick number one. Figure out why the heck you're doing this in the first place. Come up with the good reasons that are going to drive you and help you visualize. We'll get into that in a little bit. All right, so that's magic trick number one. I'm going to self-impose magic trick number two, and that is if the goal is the top of the stairs, don't be focusing on the top of the stairs. Sometimes we need to be focusing at the first stair, right? And breaking down this goal or vision of what you've defined as your why into smaller steps can help you a lot. So for example, if you're trying to define, well, my why is to be happy, right? So you want happiness, and we web this out a little bit in our mind. Uh, you got to think about, okay, well, what are the things that make me happy? All right, so maybe um, peace of mind, and maybe peace of mind comes from having financial independence or having more money to invest or uh, whatever that is. And if you need more money to have the financial independence, then you either got to make a better job decision, right? Job search, or double down on a business you already own. All right, well, let's talk about doubling down on your business venture. So let's mind map that out a little bit. You can kind of see where this goes. If you want to double down on a business adventure, maybe you need to find some capital. I mean, obviously, with the Shackley business, you can't scrape together $49.95. But you know where I'm going with that. All right, you probably don't need to call Uncle Frank, but let's say you're looking to buy a giant franchise or something. All right, so maybe you know what? I don't like Uncle Frank, so we're not going to call him to get a business loan. We're going to increase sales. All right, how do we do that? Well, we can do it through referrals and contacts, or maybe we can put some money towards advertising. Let's explore the referrals and contacts. I think I'm going to start networking. And of course, what I decided to do is join a LitTip chapter. So now you can get a chance. If you break it down into steps, magic trick number two has everything to do with creating this mind map with starting on the first bubble, which is kind of a culmination of your why. All right, let's move on to step number three, magic trick number three, and that is make it time bound, right? We've heard the acronym for goals, making them SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable. So this is very much in line with that. Put a date on it. So by such and such a date, you want to either accomplish the first step, which is what I'd recommend. It's really hard to take the big why and say, by this date, I'm going to have a goal. You should have it time bound, but it's so much easier if you time bound the little steps along the way, make those time bound, right? Just makes it more something like a bite you can take off. Um, this is interesting. My Rick told me that every goal that he ever set to date, he never accomplished by that date. Rick and Aldana have said that, but eventually they made the goal. And there's a great article. It's a Journal of Consumer Research in 2019, and it says, contrary to the common belief that having more time facilitates goal pursuit by allowing for more flexibility and fewer restrictions, the current work argues that long deadlines may produce unintended detrimental consequences on the goal pursuit. So, we talk about, well, where did all the time go? So if you give yourself such a loose deadline, it's going to counteract what you're trying to do in the first place. So make them time bound, but make it in a realistic time frame, but that isn't too long. Obviously, that's going to be up to you, but it has to be a little bit of a challenge or it's not going to work. All right, magic trick number four. This is Maxwell Maltz, the Psycho Cybernetics author. So I put a twist in this from my perspective too, but to change a habit, make a conscious decision, and then act out the new behavior. So I ask you, why is this so difficult, right? This is such a difficult thing to change a habit by making a conscious decision and then acting out the new behavior. That's the hard part, is acting out the new behavior. So um, here's my little twist to it. Create an accountability system that holds you to that change in behavior. So I asked in my presentation, what do Denver Karate Academy, LATIP, and the Army Reserve all have in common? I'll tell you my backstory. I had to create an accountability system for each one of these, but it was based on my why. So way back when I was a teenager, I knew I needed to work out and get more physically fit, but changing my behavior to work out on a daily basis was obviously too hard for me because I like shiny objects. I really decided to do something I kind of wanted to do anyway, and that was earn the right to wear the uniform in the United States Army, but I didn't want to go full active duty. So I found a great opportunity to help pay for college and do all the other stuff, Army Reserve. So I went to basic training. That got me in shape quickly. So when I came back, I was 20 pounds heavier and couldn't even fit into my tuxedo for my little magic shows I used to do back then. That was kind of funny. So that worked. That was an accountability I had to say yes to because I set myself up that I could not fail for that. Latip, I needed to do better in my networking organization. Couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting any networking referrals. And I figured out I was late to the meetings all the time or barely just under the wire and then leaving as soon as it was done. I wasn't allowing myself the networking time. So what did I do? I ran for president. I knew I had to be there because everybody was counting on me. And then Denver Karate Academy, I made a commitment when I was a teenager to get my black belt. It never happened. I found magic. That was way more fun. And I kind of got reintroduced to it back when Keegan, my son, was a little boy, about third grade. He wanted to do it, and I was on the mat watching him do it, and I'm like, I really want to do that, and I was going to earn my black belt. So I signed up for that. I had to go. My son was counting on me to be there, and I was counting on myself to not let myself down. So if you and I did achieve a black belt, well, second degree actually. So if you put yourself in a structure where you have to be accountable for something that you're passionate about or want to do, it will help you show up and change that behavior. All right, magic trick number 5. Find a metric that helps you track your progress, right? Karate was easy. You start with a white belt. You get better, you get your yellow belt and orange and so on, all the way up the color scheme. So that was made that way specifically so people had some type of metric to track their progress. So whether you're doing a business venture or a hobby or something like that, come up with some type of metric that you can utilize that will show you that you're actually making progress. All right, number 6, promise yourself some type of reward at the end of each step that you accomplish something. So magic trick number 6 is everything about if you can put off a little gratitude to yourself and then reward yourself later with something that you know you really want to do, but you need to put off for a little while. Whether it's playing a game with your family, watching a movie, going shopping, a little gift, something that you always wanted, that will help reinforce your behavior to do it again and do it again and do it again. That's that change of behavior, step number 4, right? Attached to an accountability system. All right, so this one's a little philosophical. There's this thing called a temporal landmark. This was in the Fresh Start Effect in 2014. And this concept is uh, it's kind of like setting a time-bound goal, but it mentally makes you shift that this is the time for change. A good example would be New Year's Day. What do people do on New Year's Day? They make a New Year's resolution. Does the universe care that it's January 1st in the United States? No. I mean, it's a man-made concept of how we track time, January 1st. So that would be a good example of a temporal landmark. That's where you say, on this date is the day I'm going to begin. So much like you're setting a date for a time-bound goal, you're also setting a date to start. At this date, I am really going to do it. So you have a little chance or opportunity to get yourself in line or geared up, kind of like the 7-day healthy cleanse. You can go shopping and get what you need. And on this day, for the next 7 days, I'm going to do the cleanse, right? So create a temporal landmark that will help you get your date started, right? It's like okay, it's kind of a do or die date. That'll help kind of give you your resilience back on something like that to reset. All right, number 8. Sometimes a change of scenery is what we need to do. We were on the Alaskan cruise last week, and that really gave me an opportunity to get away from everything that was around the house that's a distraction. People pulling chains from one direction or another, to focus and concentrate on a simpler state of being. So if you need to go on a hike, take a walk around the neighborhood, engage in some activities that get you out of the mess you're in, even if you can escape for lunch or something like that, whatever it can do, just change of scenery. I was listening to a program one time where it talked about the wealthy people in history. All of them had these large, lush gardens to go walk around with their advisors or their family members or by themselves, and it's very effective to get away and escape by just a change of scenery. So this is an age-old technique that kings and leaders have used for centuries, was to go on a walk in a change of scenery to help you get a better perspective on things. All right, we're on to number 9. Number 9 is make a contract with yourself that things are going to get messy and we're going to have obstacles, right? And Rick talks about this. When you set a goal, you start at A, you move to B, right? It's just like that. That's how we set goals. When it actually looks like this, right? Every time we get into a goal, something is going to come up, right? The car breaks down, you have a death in the family or a major illness that you have to tend to. You have to move, right? I mean, all these things can come up in the way when you're setting a goal. So magic trick number 9 is make a contract that if you see this when you're setting a goal, that you're going to stick to it. Okay, so that will help you make a contract with yourself and get that goal done if you understand that the process of setting a goal is messy and it's going to look like that. All right, we made it to number 10, an attitude of gratitude. This is really interesting. There's one specific example in a study, University of California, Riverside. There were 1,200 high school students, and they were randomly assigned to write letters of gratitude to people who had an impact on their academics, their health, or did something kind for them. And the results of the study provide evidence that expressing gratitude leads one to feel close and connected to others, uplifted and inspired to be a better person, and the need to repay another for their actions, which is then associated with greater self-improvement and motivation at a 3-month follow-up. So it's kind of like getting out of your head and into your heart. That came from Coach Lorianne, who's was at the LaTip conference, who helped me put this presentation together. And I stole that from her, getting out of your head and getting into your heart. So from that comes a vibration with you that attracts the same. So people, energy in a room, it's the law of attraction. So once you become aware of it, you can't really unsee it. So start just throwing out some letters of gratitude. If it's your Shackley business, out to your builders, your customers, just let them know that, hey, thinking of you, I really appreciate you. Sometimes that's all it is. If you can get more specific with it, call it out. Give them some kudos. So attitude of gratitude, number 10. Magic trick number 11. This is something that Rick Seymour talks about all the time. Triggers. So remember, when you have the concept of an affirmation is saying something that you want to happen as if it's already has happened, right? That is an affirmation. But it seems that those aren't as powerful as a trigger. And I think as a personal development series, as we're doing these, we're going to specifically drive down into triggers, but let me give you the view from 30,000 feet. That's, for example, I will write 10 letters of gratitude, but before I can get all that done, I have to say, okay, how can I can do maybe 2 a day. So before I get up and get to my office and sit down to start getting lost on Facebook or checking my emails, before I do that, I'm going to pull out some actual nice stationery, handwrite some gratitude letters, stick them in an envelope, and get them in the mail, and then I'll start my day. So the trigger is before you get up and get on your computer to look at your emails, you write the letters. It's just a small trigger. Maybe it's one, maybe it's every other day, whatever it is, make that trigger work for you so that you know, oh, I have to do this before I do that. All right. That was number 11. We're on the 12th magic trick, the dozen magic tricks of Resilient Reset. So I'll read this because I think it's hilarious. You and your health. Are you feeling like a junker car in the weeds? Exercise, diet, including quality science-based supplementation, and regular self-care may be needing some attention in your life. So if you guys could say, you could pick something that you could do in the next 30 days that would dramatically affect your health in a negative way, I think we could all come up with something. So the opposite must be true. We could come up with something in the next 30 days that would make our health better. So we have to take care of ourselves. Resilience Reset, if you're not getting enough sleep, I'm guilty of that, and you use coffee as a fill-in for a lack of sleep, well, maybe you need to pay a little more attention to that. Or if you decide, I just haven't exercised in a while, and now I've got this pain, and once the pain goes away, then I'll get back to exercising. So maybe you need to get that pain checked out and get that chiropractic appointment booked. Whatever is ailing you or bugging you, or you're slacking on with your health, will affect your resilience in your reset. It's just plain and simple. If you're not taking care of yourself and you look like that, you should be feeling like that, right? The race car, the Formula One. That's where we should all try to aspire to in our healthy journey. So obviously we have a tool that most people are not even aware of, and that is the Shaklee difference. So a little bit easier for us, I think. So there's your 12 magic tricks to fool yourself for a resilience reset. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I'm going to stop this recording. So whoever's facilitating, Rick, I believe you're going to be facilitating this. This would be a good time for some questions and some conversation. Hope you enjoyed. Take care. I'm going to go.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. It was right on
Thank
time.
you. Yeah. Yeah. Sheila, that was right on, right?
Good night information. Anybody got some particular takeaways that hit you kind of hard?
Well, Shirley and I had this discussion when we saw each other. So, I mean, this was like preaching to the choir kind of thing for me, because it was really some much needed steps that I can take to build my motivation and get myself on track like I would like to be. So this
Good.
was
Thanks, Sheila.
on time.
That's great. Thank you, Sheila.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else?
Changing my scenery was something that hit me tonight. We haven't gone anywhere for a very long time. I haven't gone anywhere. And when I first retired, I promised myself that I would do one day a month going someplace, even if it was just to the park for a couple of hours, just to think, be by myself and pull stuff together. And I need to get back to that.
Good plan.
I like the thank yous. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty big.
Yeah.
I think people really appreciate getting a thank you from, whoever. I think that's really big. Thank them for their order or
Yeah.
whatever it is. I think that's really big.
Yeah.
How about this? As soon as we end this call, how about if each of you email Scott a big thank you for what he presented tonight?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think that was really, really good.
It sure was.
And his
We can
career
do that.
and correct email is Scott H. McCray or something?
I believe it is Scott H. McCray at
Hey.
Gmail.
I can double check that for you guys.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Amanda.
I got a chance to see this presentation live at the conference he was talking about. It was a LitTip conference, and so I got to see all of his props that he used, which was even more engaging. Being that I'm a type A person, it's very easy to look at all these 12 and like want to do them all at the same time. I don't think anybody else here has that problem, but even if it's only 3, like it is good to kind of key on one. And I think the systematic approach he took was really great too, because life doesn't happen linearly, right? Like as he showed from that A to B. And sometimes we spend around A for a year before we move away from A. But yeah, it was good in that sense. So to see it again and him just have this platform of Zoom still was very potent. So that's a good one for sure. I'm glad he shared it with us.
You know, one of the ones that really struck me is when he put up the Denver Karate and LitTip and Army Reserves, to put yourself in a place that forces you accountability to do what you want to do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is absolutely huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
It's a big trigger because you know somebody is gonna be waiting for you to do what it is you are setting out to do. So that pushes you to be accountable and to show up.
Yeah, good.
Hiking. Yeah. Yeah, it's like Aldana and I, a lot of mornings that I don't feel like going and she's like gung ho, and there's mornings she doesn't feel like going and I'm gung ho. It really does.
Yeah,
There you go.
Oh, good, good, really good. Thank you. I've got to cut out, guys, but it's great seeing everybody.
Glad
great
you were here.
seeing.
See
Thank you,
ya.
Sheila.
Y'all
See
have
ya.
a great night.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks, Sheila.
Ray,
Bye.
You
Those are-
email Scott.
and those of you that are
I
local,
will.
see you Friday night.
Okay. See you Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Friday.
Good
night.
Thank you.